These are terminals which we got out of an electrical box that we had to throw away. We had a lot of stuff that just needed to be replaced for the real electricity in the building, and I decided to use these. We harvested them, and they're like long terminal blocks. They're intended to carry real electricity. I mean, you know, something significant, and they don't need to do that. Now they're carrying about 18 volts AC, very low amount of energy that comes out of a transformer, a train transformer. And of course we have more of our regular terminal blocks. You'll never get enough of them. Never get enough of them. Here is our movie. Now, what does the movie consist of? It used to be one of these DVD players that you would put on the back of a seat, and kids would watch them. There's two of them. One of them has the player built in, and one of them is just a monitor. And that died eventually. Motors do wear out. And we brought a Asus Oplay. And there it is, the Asus Oplay with a memory stick. And that memory stick has the movie on it, or scenes from old monster movies. And it is connected to an infrared relay, which I bought for years ago for automating my house and haven't used since. And there's the little Radio Shack pylon that takes the information. We have a matching one. That's the receiver. We have the transmitter inside the booth, and every morning we set it up to play and so that people can see their drive-in monster movie. This is another thing. It's another X10. This one works off a motion detector, and that turns on the zoo. That turns so that the zoo animations don't work when it's not being actively looked at. That's very important to us. There is my brother's old stereo, and that makes the sounds for the volcano. Up there are a bunch of bulbs. They're colored incandescent light bulbs, and what happens is that they have starters. You can see just in the center of the screen. See if I can get a little closer. No, I can't. Starters. They're fluorescent lights. And what happens is that those attempt to start the bulbs, but of course they can't start the bulbs because the bulbs are incandescent, so they flicker. And this is an old thing that an old way of making artificial fire for the stage. It's a theatrical electrical work, and we use it here. It's primitive, but it works very, very well. And we've got a lot of inline fuses there just in case, but it only goes on when people push a button, and it has a very short timer, good old Altronics timer, and it doesn't stay on. They don't stay on and flicker for very long, so they've done well. We were very happy with it. So there's the sound. Speakers are up there, and that's the inside of the volcano. This is the Barricade electronic controller, and what it does is it just flashes the lights on the people who are doing road work. That's it. Nothing very great. I could do it cheaper, but We at the time were just trying to get open to the public, so we slapped in, we bought the expensive one and ate the cost. This is more mainline electricity. That's the, again, the 12 gauge wire, and that is, and the power strips, and this wire is what powers and makes the main line reliable. One of our many wall warts from American Science and Surplus. And what is it powering? Well, we got a bunch of them. There is another X10 receiver. This one controls the trains on the side of the mountain, and the Hogwarts, what we call the Hogwarts Loop, it's really the Northern Loop, where Lionel's Hogwarts train often goes. Up here, we have the system for moving the coal car in and out of the coal mine and into the coal crushing building. It's got one Altronics timer, a Radio Shack 12-volt relay, and a geared motor. And if you want to learn more about this geared motor and all this good stuff, you should try the, we have a video on this, and it's quite nice. I can actually move the train a little bit, but I'm not going to. There we go. Got fishing line, all that good stuff. And this, by the way, is what it looks like. I'm right next to the castle. And right down there is the line. This is one of the ridge line. There's where the Hogwarts train often goes. And over there is the side mountain. You can't see it from here, but it's all controlled by that X10 that we just looked at. This is one of the sensors I told you about. It's X10. It's got two 8AA batteries in it. It'll last for about a year. We've been able to get a year and a half out of them because they're not outdoors. And what they do is they simply send a signal to a receiver, to one of the ones that has an antenna on it. And that one will send the signal through the electrical system, or if it is the designated one to turn on and off, that one will turn on and off, or it can send them to numerous receivers that listen to harmonics on the AC system. It's very non-digital, it's very old-fashioned, but it works, and it's less expensive than some of the new digital systems, which I'm sure will come down in time. Here is one of those X10 receivers I told you about. This one is a little older, a little bit bigger than we normally do them nowadays, and it's actually about 20 years old. And what it does is it'll get a signal, and this one doesn't switch anything. You can see that it's not really plugged into anything. It's plugged into the wall, but nothing's plugged into it. And it will send the harmonic signal for whatever control is supposed to be turned on through the electrical system, and then that will turn on or off an animation or a light or a train. In this case, this one I happen to know works for the Northern Loop train, which goes around the castle, and the side mountain, which goes around the very long mountain range we have. So those, it's a good working system. I bought it for home automation in the early mid '90s and never used it, and I'm glad that I was able to use it here. Here's the Titanic display, and I wanted to show you this not going to show you the whole display, but when the lights are off, we have various flickering lights, and you can kind of see them. Some of them they don't really flicker. Some of them stay strong and steady and fade away quickly. Some pulse, and they're different colors, as green and blue. Now, I'm not sure this was entirely successful, but this is an Arduino usage, and it is to control lights, LEDs particularly, in a very detailed way, and to be able to do it through pulse width modulation. And I did it here basically to give the water kind of to make it look like a nighttime, that there's spotlights around and yet the water is moving and that kind of thing. It worked okay, and I want to show you the back of it. Let me push the button, and so now we can see our little train going back and forth. But I'm going to open her up. We have, get the light on. We have an Altronics timer here, one of the boxes I showed you before that does a lot of work here. And that one, the button turns on and it does something. We got our little power supply right there. And inside here, hopefully we'll be able to see it. You're going to have to take my word for it. There's an Arduino in there, and particularly it's called a Diabolino. It was from the Evil Mad Scientist company. And they sell an Arduino too, because it's an open source. And it works.